CSR and a competitive advantage in emerging markets.
Thank you for having me. I think we should.
Thank you for being here.
I think we should speak a bit about the combinations of being commercial and also doing good, because that is, in my opinion, a very strong component of what we should be doing.
CSR is,
Yes.
I think it's precious in this day and age, especially within the bounds of this particular industry.
Yes. And in my opinion, it's not a, well, it is a dualism, because you can be hyper-commercial and also doing good, but it's not a contradiction. Since in order to have the funds and have the means for doing good, you need to be profitable, and that's sort of the basis for every natural company. But it is, in my opinion, more than just the bottom line. It is leaving a mark, taking care of what we create, and so on. And we are privileged enough in this business to do that.
I mean, I might be speaking from a very selfish eye at this point in time, but I'm quite Machiavellian in my approach. So me as being the ultimate beneficiary within the bounds of this situation, and we do have people who come forward, for example, as happened yesterday, we had the golf tournament, which was conducted by 𝐂𝐭𝐡 and 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜.
Yep.
We had an amazing 30,000 euro donation passed on to us, which we'll be using with the underprivileged here in the Philippines. So when we speak about CSR, the structure and the science and the ideology behind it, I don't want to sound callous, but I said, listen, you guys, you know how to best adopt the situation to kind of bleed the stone. Mm-hmm. We, at the end of the day, we know what it takes to be in the trenches, using those funds to the best of our capabilities.
Yes.
So I think the situation is very symbiotic. Mm-hmm. It marries off really well.
It does. It does. And also, with my experience from charity lotteries in Europe, predominantly, we had a business model of giving the entire profit away to charity. But as we are not the experts in where it does the most effect, it was completely unearmarked. So it was up to you in the trenches, as you say, to use the funds to wherever the most impact was made. And we, on our side, on the commercial side, we were just focusing on generating as much cash as possible to your side. And we found out in the early days that we ran a lot of campaigns where we tried to use sort of the doing good effect in sales. We didn't see any uptake whatsoever, because people don't sign up for a lottery, or people don't sign up for an online casino to give money to charity. They sign up to win.
Yeah.
And it's a fact, because if you want to donate to charity, you do it directly without any bleedage or anything in between. But what we found out was that you stayed on the lottery, because even when you didn't win in the lottery, you knew that at least a significant part of your personal monetary loss went to somebody else that really needed it.
So you've appeased your conscience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was the main driver. It was a retention driver.
And look at the collective value of that.
Yes.
When we're speaking about pittance on an individual basis, but when you speak about the thousands and thousands and thousands of players, then it becomes really significant.
It does. It does.
And on an individual level, it's insignificant.
Yes.
So it's a win-win situation.
Yes. Yeah. It is.
It's wise. It's wise.
Yeah. And I think we could use that more into our business and in our collective business. And taking a few minutes on doing how we could do this in practice. And this is just a personal opinion. I don't have any data to back this on, but back it up. But what if we should include the regulatory bodies into this as well? Because that is where it starts for us within this, since we are a heavily regulated business. What if there would be, instead of just having sort of the gaming tax, what if it should be divided into 3 parts? One part, of course, goes to the state, as is. One part that goes to treating gambling addiction, because that
Bravo, chapeau. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the third faction would go towards
to charity.
the beneficiary.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And in that case, and this is where I don't have any data or facts to back it up, but my belief is that having a charity component in the gaming tax would avoid more operators trying to avoid the tax. So I think that the sort of the incentive to do right would trump the...
Like we were saying before, and this is a spin-off of what we spoke about earlier,
Yeah.
the credibility factor.
Yes.
So this is the ultimate triumvirate.
Yes,
you know?
I think so.
Tax, beneficiary, and helping, showing
Yes.
an element of caring.
Yes.
So I think, they could coexist in perfect unison.
think so.
That's smart.
Yeah.
What do you think about how important is CSR within the bounds of this industry? And is it being pushed as a way of gaining cutting edge, or is there a real conscience to it all? Are people willing to work in silence and in the shadows, or listen, we're going to bleed the stone. So if we're going to be giving this up to charity, we're going to go full tilt. We want everyone across every corner of the planet to see us.
Yeah, I think there are people, of course, on both sides of it. But from an industry point of view, and from an operator or from a supplier point of view, I think that we shouldn't really get into where you guys use the money. We should trust your expertise.
Exactly.
And we shouldn't sort of go in and meddle.
For as long as background checks are conducted.
Yeah, of course.
Because I've seen so many, over the years,
Yeah.
Chris, I've seen so many funds squandered on nonsense.
Yeah, and it can't go to, you can't just have, as an operator, to have, I want to start this foundation for Chris funds for people who want stuff. That's not the thing.
Exactly.
So it should be controlled by you guys, of course, under scrutinization and regulation from proper functions. But we as an operator shouldn't be part of it, or operator or supplier shouldn't be part of telling you what to do.
Exactly. Me at my end, I mean, this is the modus operandi we've adopted for the best part of 20 years now, but I always made it a point that we worked with people who are competent and that we have, either by proxy or directly, we have a historical track record with.
Yes.
That's really important.
It is.
And with regards to serving a community, I think it's a two-way street.
Yes.
We will serve your community, we'll provide the hardware, be it a hospital, be it a clinic, be it a school, but you need to come on board as well. Because if that sense of ownership can only be achieved if that person has sacrificed to a level something to be part of what we're creating. So it's a symbiotic thing.
It is.
And it turns into synergism as well.
Yes.
But if we just hand out something, listen, that's your school. I think the element of gratitude is severely on the wane.
It is. It is. And I would just like to mention a few things that we, as parts of this business, could really sort of benefit from using the CSR effect as well. Because my experience from the lotteries in Europe is that if we have sort of a strong moral and solid social compass within the company, we have a better, we excel in recruiting the right people. And it's even more important in order for us to have more talented women in this industry, because the experience is that the bottom line is
it's skewed towards the male, towards the male gender.
The bottom line is not enough. We need to do something more. So I say that's an easy win, and that's
and there's not much to lose if you think about it. Being pragmatic, there's everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Something just came to me just now. So we all have, well, most companies within this realm have a level of CSR.
Yes.
Which is channeled through people like me.
Yep.
how great would it be if people, each company had to have a competent person within this realm, you know, but specified in a particular place, within a particular vertical for the funds generated in-house.
That would be great.
That would be really cool, actually.
That
If
would
these
be-
people exist, 'cause I'm not even really sure if they exist.
No, but I know they do exist because we had that in the charity lottery. We had a beneficiary department
Okay.
who consisted of like 8% of the staff of the company. And they were the ones finding the right charity organizations, finding the right projects, and finding all of that. So those people do exist, and they can function within a hyper-commercial company. So they are out there. We just need to find them.
I think that would be the perfect marriage, actually. And it's something which nothing is foolproof in life, Chris, but it's a way of definitely semi-pseudo guaranteeing that the funds are channeled to the best of their capabilities.
Yes.
I mean, yesterday, you know, it is, you look back on things and there's an element of nostalgia. And I look back at having been a guest at the golf tournament and having been one of the main beneficiaries as a SiGMA Foundation. And everything was organized to perfection.
It was.
All the teams had a great time.
Yeah.
It was sweltering. Some people maybe had a few more drinks
And there
that
were a few-
than they could handle.
Yeah. Yes.
But ultimately, it was organized perfectly, and the modus operandi, the intention of raising funds for the underprivileged here in the Philippines, it worked out perfectly. And they handed over a check of 30,000 euro.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for,
Yes,
Chris.
and it's always, as you mentioned before, it starts in the small things, in the everyday decisions.
Of course.
It's like we at our company, we have taken the decision to just sponsor things or events that have a CSR component, and it's not much. We're not the huge company, but it starts in the small decisions, and I mean everybody can do something, and.
I think the collective value, people underestimate the collective value, the force of the community. When we speak about community, there's a community out there on the street, but this is also a community as well.
Yeah.
So when we speak about creating a pot, if you will, a kitty across the village, sure, some people could afford this, some people could, but I could never accept the fact that people do nothing.
No.
How can you conscientiously move forward saying, listen, I can't do much, but I can do something, and turning an Elson Zion a situation.
Yeah.
So both in my world and in yours,
Yeah.
we have to do what we can, when we can, for who we can.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Completely agree.
it's really unadulteratedly simple.
It is. It is. So yeah, it comes down to that, and it shouldn't be sort of affecting strategy or taking apart. It should be. It should be, as I say,
free flowing.
Modus operandi, as you say. It should be part of the natural.
The natural
part of the
flow of
company.
things.
Yeah.
And if ideally it wouldn't be a financial impediment in that it wouldn't be affecting the day-by-day workings of the actual mother company,
Yes.
the umbrella organization, if you
Yeah.
will,
Yeah.
that I think is a very important point,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Steer clear.
Yeah.
Just do enough
Yeah.
to kind of roll this into your stride and take it in your stride.
Yeah. And perhaps just throwing out the crazy idea, and I know if the exhibitors of SiGMA will be mad at me for this, but I'm prepared to take it. What if we should just raise the fees for exhibiting by 10%?
We're working on this.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
10%,
then-
10% is stretching
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But imagine
But
you have
do that.
400, 500
And-
stalls.
Yes, and then it's when we're exhibiting here, we spend a lot of money, and we have, in my opinion, enough money in this industry to spend it. So spend 10% more and dedicate that to SiGMA Foundation.
That would be
or to
amazing.
So
I would be absolutely amazing.
yeah,
Let's see.
let's see.
Let's see what's around the corner.
Yeah.
But like I said, and I do extend this invitation to you and to Cynthia over there, who's ignoring me at the moment. But if you decide to join us in Bataan in a couple of days' time, I think you'd have a really good time. It's a quick in and out, and you can actually have a place on the helicopter as well. So it makes things even easier. And so if you've never been on a helicopter in your life, here's your chance. Chris, you as well.
Thank you very
So
much.
I guess Mark, me and this lovely gentleman have had an amazing 10 minutes. We've had a really good time and a couple of very constructive prompts. So where do we go from here?
Keith, I just really like you on stage. I just don't want you to come down. Have you got anything else to add?
Jess, would you like to come up on stage and say something here? No, she'll
Eventually we will have her on stage. But I'm quite sure you can fill
No,
up
next year she's promised me.
Okay.
She'll be sitting down instead of me over here.
Do you think you can give us another 5 minutes?
Of course I can, even
All
more.
right. Leave it up for Keith Marshall.
Why not? So Chris, and just like I was saying before, the beauty behind. Look, so we needed to find a platform within our foundation which would allow us to generate funds on a regular basis. So we started these adventure expeditions. This year we've had 3. We've had the Lost City Trail in northern Colombia. It was crazy.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And we're really hot. And mosquito infested, but fun.
Yes.
We had 100% success on that. From there, we went to the Camino de Santiago in Spain, and back to back, we challenged Mount Toubkal in Morocco. I always have this in mind. I said, listen, if we can prove with a certain level of intent that we're there, we're going full stride, pardon the pun, for what we believe in. What does it take for people to come forward and say, listen, we've heard your battle cry, so we're going to be on board with you. And I do believe that there's a situation called the Me Too syndrome, where in the beginning there's inertia. I'm not going to be the first person to make a move, but once the first company, the second, the third, the fourth, they come on board, then there's a cascade of events. And that's what I'm waiting for. And I really believe, hand on my heart, that if you look at the results, we went from Ethiopia to Ethiopia, Morocco, Gozo, Malta's dependency, Peru, Brazil, Colombia, and last but definitely not least, the Philippines. So I'm waiting for people to say, listen, okay, we're going to put a foot forward, not our best foot forward, but a foot forward to help you guys out so that you can help these underprivileged kids. And I think it would marry off so well.
It would.
So I would love that people out there would just say, listen, we've listened to this guy, he seems genuine. Let's look up the SiGMA Foundation page, see everything. You can see what we're made of, where we've come from, where we aspire to get as well, and be with us.
But we have, we have awards for everything in this business. Why don't we have awards for
philanthropy?
Yes, operators and suppliers donating to philanthropy and, I don't know, finding the best project.
I absolutely love this idea. And I don't know how it's never hit me in the face before. Actually having an award. Yesterday we had 20 awards.
Yes.
Let's have a 21st.
Yes.
And that one will be dedicated, and it's not solely and specifically down to the SiGMA Foundation. Because charity is charity.
Yes.
When we were hit by COVID and it became a disaster, it was a shit sandwich, we said, listen, how can we epitomize the fact that charities can be there for charities? And locally we were given these, it was kind of like a parachute mechanism. The government were giving out €100 vouchers to households. So I went around 400 people in a month, collected €40,000 worth of these vouchers, and distributed across 15 different charities. None of them were working with us. They were completely autonomous. But the moral to the story, our battle cry was, listen, we don't work in charity alone for our cause alone. We believe in all your causes because charity is charity is charity, as long as it's not undermined, and as long as it's well-defined and credible, come on board and we will be with you. We can do it too, we can easily share and live in peace, live in harmony. Different charities. So working on this, your prompt, Chris, I am actually going to bring this up.
Yeah, of course.
Have another award, a special award, and let's face it, we're working on auctions. And it is the SiGMA Foundation night.
Yes.
Let's add this on. It makes sense. Bravo. Chapeau.
Thank you.
Bravo. So, Chris, what are we going to speak about next? Let's consider you guys joining us. Come on, the day after tomorrow. You're going to see exactly what we can translate into action. Because we can talk till the cows come home. But I really want to see people who can be instrumental in a field, seeing what we actually do in the trenches. And this multi-sensory hall, I was shocked by the by the return on investment.
Right.
Because I've been working in Ethiopia, like I said, for 20 years. But when we saw the visuals of this hall, we haven't actually seen them up close and personal.
No, but we saw them on the videos on the golf
Oh my
tournament
God,
yesterday.
I was saying, that's amazing, you know? So it's the Philippines is a territory I would like to set our roots in as well. We work with some really great people on the ground, just like we were saying before, as long as you can work with people who you have a certain level of credibility in, and people that you're building a track record, and you have ground roots. You know, in Ethiopia, I've been working with this priest, the same priest, for 10 years. So we're like brothers now. You know, we know how our minds sync. We know exactly how we operate.
And you know and have trust that the funds go to the right place. So
it's almost dogmatic.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the beginning where there's a bit of a cynical eye, and once before you've actually set a concrete and credible bed upon which you can lay, you and that person, you're always going to question. It's innately in our... And I think it's a good thing.
It is.
You know, you can't just throw caution to the wind and say, listen, this is hard-earned money. It's people's money. So conscientiously, we need to bleed the stone. We need to get the maximum out of that money. So in the beginning, it is until you've actually established that the guy is 100% efficient, not credible. Because I will never have myself believe that the people who have been passed on to us by proxy, they have been brought to us by contacts, by a third person, blah, blah. I would never believe that there's malintention. But there's a difference between being a good person and there's a difference between a good person and an efficient person.
Yes, you can still be good, but you can't, well, you doesn't necessarily have to be good at what you do.
Exactly.
So you need to have that mark and credibility sort of.
You have to be gunning on both fronts.
Yes.
You know, but in the beginning, you cannot throw caution to the wind.
Nope.
We have this really cool project actually coming up in Brazil. So we know that there are so many impoverished areas in Brazil. And we know that we work with Centurion, blah, 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 blah. So everyone came out with this idea. I said, listen, how about a sports center in one of the favelas? If you try feeding a kid and a street urchin a book, he's going to throw it in your face. But if you're going to try to distract that kid's attention using sport as a mechanism, it could work. That's really interesting. We also have this beautiful annex to a children's hospital in 𝐂𝐭𝐡. It's a very poor part of Peru. That's coming up as well. And as we speak, we're operating on one child a week in Colombia who has been born with a cleft palate and a cleft lip. Situation. So
there is a really good organization called Operation Smile.
Okay. Yes,
I
saw that actually on an advert. We were lucky that we were privileged by the fact that my contact on the ground in Colombia, he's Maltese, he married a Colombian girl, and her sister runs a plastic surgery clinic. So it remained within the family. So the credibility automatically. It was there on the spot. And so we formed a group of 27 people, and it was kind of like an unwritten rule that everyone would have to furnish the financial requirements of at least one operation. So 27 people should have been 27 kids. But the guys went the extra yard, and we covered 60 operations. One a week throughout the course of 2024. That's happening as we speak. So Peru, Brazil, Ethiopia will be opening this super project in October. We're going for a week, and we'll be training 500 women every year in 4 verticals: hairdressing, cookery, IT, and sewing and embroidery.
Perfect.
With the possibility of expanding into many more verticals. So sky's the limit, you know. In 𝐂𝐭𝐡, which is our sister island. Anyway, I stumbled across a horse therapy farm a few years back. I started becoming a volunteer on the weekends. And what the guy does is amazing. He uses horses to bring back people who have been chewed up and spat out by society. People that have fallen through the grid lines for a multitude of reasons. But I've seen kids on the spectrum being completely non-communicative. After a year of volunteering on the farm, they're back to normal. It's like, boom.
That's good.
So we're paying for a new annex, which will supply the area with dormitories, lecture rooms, shower facilities. I think it's a project I hold very much to
It's
to
very
heart.
impressive. We had one other thing that I think we couldn't. I don't know if
Elaborate
we
on.
can start using it in our collective industry. Also within the charity lotteries, but I've spent 10 years within charity lotteries, so it left a huge mark in me, positively. But what we did was that we had 2 days a year, fully paid for all staff, that they could do voluntarily work on the local level. So we didn't, of course, we didn't send them to
It wouldn't be overseas.
No.
It would be within the local community.
Yes, because there's a lot of projects that needs to be done, even in Sweden and local Stockholm.
Yeah.
Feeding the homeless, taking care. Well, you know, there are a lot of.
And I'm
of
sure
issues
it
as well.
brings a certain level of meaningfulness to their heart
Yes,
as well.
and people used it. People used the 2 days to do something that they cared for, because they could choose the charity by themselves. So we didn't just send them to do whatever. So we had a list. They picked the one they wanted to contribute to, and of course we paid the salary for them for 2 days. And
And I believe also, Chris, is when, for example, when I visited Ethiopia 21 years ago,
Yeah.
it was on a whim.
Yeah.
So these guys, them winning a prize,
Yes.
you kind of coerced into a direction. Once you're there,
Yeah.
very circumstantially, then you can say, wow, I found my holy grail. This is something I want to do on a regular basis. I don't need a freebie to come here and say, I can dedicate some time to this.
Yes.
So I do believe that very often, much of life can be circumstantial. Okay, some is pre-designed, it's
some is
engineered.
pre-designed, yes,
but some stuff on a whim
Yeah.
can change the outcome and your perspective
Yes.
on life.
yeah, it's like we discussed before, the sliding door thing.
Exactly.
You miss one thing and then you divert.
And
90
before you know
degrees.
it,
Yeah.
your life has come off on a tangent,
Yes.
good or bad.
Yeah,
Obviously, we always hope for the
for
good.
the good ones, but
So Mark is giving me a sign over there in the background. He still wants you on stage for a bit more time. You love me that
surprised.
much, Mark.
I love you with all my heart, Keith.
Oh,
but
mate,
we're
ow.
actually going to call for a small break.
Listen, and the eyes are the window to the soul.
Yeah.
So you can see that there's veracity in his face. Thank you. Much love, man.
Back to you, Keith.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you very, very much. It was a very, very good fireside
Thank
chat.
you. It was
thank you very much.
I
it
hope
was
everybody-
beautiful, lovely,
It
enjoyable.
Was indeed. It was indeed, and I hope you guys have taken as much as possible. I would like to actually call for a break now. I think we deserve to continue networking, okay? And I will meet you all over here at
Chris,
noon.
thank you
Thank you
so
very
much
much.
for your
12 o'clock.
time. That was amazing. Amazing. A couple of super prompts as well. I promise I'll be bringing them to the table. Whether they come to fruition or not, who knows? But I'm gonna prompt.
At least bring him.
They were great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Cool.
you very much.
Thank you very much.
Keith and Christopher, everybody.